PowerPoint slides.
Oh, you did?
All right.
Yeah, no, I'll put it in. I'll just come back to get it. Thanks. All right, thank you.
All right. Everyone got a slide deck? At the end of this presentation, I'm going to email you guys, and I put in the weekly update, and I'll put it in the next weekly update, this slide deck for you, because there's some good things you want to put in your presentations. So this is a yearly meeting we started doing about 4 or 5 years ago. And basically what we do is we break down it's broken down into 3 parts. So we've got the RE/MAX Realty Center numbers for 2014. We have national trends that we see coming up in 2015. And then we do a SWOT analysis. And the SWOT analysis is the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So I'll hop right in here with our presentation. All right, so the first slide I got in here is number of transactions. So again, there's some important stats to look at this. And from a company point of view, one thing that's really cool is to watch this continue to grow and to kind of realize where we were. You know, you look over here in 2007, 2008, I mean, our business took a pummeling. And for a lot of business, and I've talked to other people who own businesses, and they're like, most companies don't survive this kind of drop. And, you know, we've been very lucky. We have, you know, full-time professional agents who work very hard. And that's kind of a testament to you guys as far as bringing your business back out of a huge drop. And every year we've seen a nice increase. This year we had a 5.4% increase in our number of transactions. So we did 1,155 transactions in 14. So that equates to 3 homes a day. It gives you an idea. The other thing is down at the bottom is, I thought this was interesting to look at, is in Montgomery County in 2014, there were about 11,000 homes sold, which is down from 2013. So actually the marketplace was relatively flat, but went down ever so slightly. Our business went up. So it just goes to show you that better agents are doing the business. The other thing that's interesting to note in here is this, 16,000 homes, 16,488 homes were listed in Montgomery County in 2014. So that means that only 68% of the inventory actually sold. So a lot of sellers tend to think, well, everything sells. You know, a lot of folks get in that misconception, and we can price it anywhere, we can put it on at any condition, and we can list with anyone. And it'll sell just by the matter of fact that everything sells, right? We see signs go up, we see signs go down. Well, only 68% of those homes actually found success. So that's important to make sure your clients understand. All right. The next one, production stats. So our total production in 2014 was $450,090,718, which is up 3% over 2013. We had 117 agents at the end of 2014. So that production with all agents was 3.8 million. If we look at just individuals and team leaders, it was 4.5 million. Average sales price. So, and I don't think this is going to be a huge shock to everyone. Our average sales price was $388,223. And if you look at 2013, it's down a little bit from 2013. And I think a lot of that was we saw in the marketplace. Last year was kind of an interesting year. And we actually saw a lot of our clients, based on the mortgage pressures last year, kind of back off certain price ranges. At least I saw that in my own personal business. The other thing is that we're not just a Montgomery County real estate company. We do a lot of business outside of Montgomery County. So the price points are a little lower outside of Montgomery County. So I think that's why our average sales price is a little lower than the Montgomery County average of $400,000. Frederick County, just to give you some perspective, is $265,000 is the average sales price, and Howard County is $390,000. All right, list versus sales ratios. I break this down because it's just interesting to see where we're getting our business, because I do see listing and sales business as two completely different, I shouldn't say completely different, but two very different business models. So our listing business made up 45% of our total business, and our sales business was 55%. I also look at double enders. So 8.4% of our listings were double ended, meaning another RE/MAX Realty Center agent cooperated with another RE/MAX Realty Center agent, which I think is a great stat. You guys work a lot together. And again, you guys are doing a lot of business in and around the marketplace. So you guys are going to run into each other. One thing I did put in here is I threw Mr. Northrup under the bus a little bit. So double-ended deals. So he only double-ended 1.7% of his listings. So people advertise a lot, and a lot of sellers think that drives buyers to their listings, so that they're going to bring the buyer in. And if that was the case, that number would be a whole lot higher than 1.7, I believe. So that's just something to keep in mind. Average commissions. All right, so our average commission was 2.57, a little higher on the list side, a little lower on the sales side. I like that difference because that just shows on the list side, you guys can control what the commission is. On the sales side, we're typically dealt our hand. And one thing is I think we will see going forward, obviously, I think we're going to still continue to see pressures on commission. So like what Dale's doing with the objection handling on Friday, those are things that having that skill set really helps. Knowing what to say when someone does present you with an objection like commission. All right, whenever you see this little F, this is a Facebook question that came up, and some of these were from 2013, some are from 2014. So our average commission per transaction was $9,977 per transaction. And our average income per agent was a little over 100,000, 105,000. All right. Days on market is the next slide. So our days on market, 49 days on market. It's up just ever so slightly from 2013. And the Montgomery County average was 50. And I think, I'm not surprised again by that slight increase in the days on market. I mean, I think last year we held on to our inventory a little bit longer. It's almost like last year we saw 3 different marketplaces. We saw a very slow first quarter of 2014, an extremely busy, middle quarter to half, and then the fall dropped off, and then the winter picked back up. I mean, it was a roller coaster ride for certain. All right, source of business, 2014. And I've got a different name for this slide. It's where should I spend my time and money chart. So this is an idea of where you guys should spend your time and money in your business. So we track this information. This is when we bug you guys for, hey, we need your source of business. This is why we need this. And because we can get some good reports out to you guys, so you guys know what works when you're sitting at a listing appointment with the seller who wants you to do a whole ton of print ads. You know exactly what to discuss with them. Okay, so where did our business come from? Sphere of influence was 72%. Agent referrals, agent to agent referrals was 5.3. Agent website and lead street were 7%. 6% were agent websites, 1% was lead street. Open houses, 2.4. Floor duty, 1. Farming, 2. Sign calls, 3. Zillow was 6. And then bank REO, 1.8. One thing I'd love to see, though, is this reporting number is 7.9. I'd love to see this number come up in 2015. So if you guys can please help us and fill out those sources of business, that would be very, very helpful. All right, agent demographics. So in 2014, we had 117 agents, 90 in Albany, 27 in Clarksburg, which is, again, another year of increasing agents. Average age of our agent was 52.5. You guys are getting younger. It's amazing. That number actually last year, it was in 2012 to 13, that number stayed constant. It was 54 2 years in a row, and you guys got 2 years younger. So good job, y'all. All right, CMN. So as you know, we partner with the Children's Miracle Network. Last year, we raised over almost $44,000 for Children's Miracle Network. So that is huge. Thank you guys very much for doing that. Your money, as you know, anything we raise stays locally, goes to Children's Hospital in DC, which is a really nice thing to have happen within our community. The silent auction golf tournament raised the bar again. They raised $28,000 in 2014, and it's amazing. I'll talk to folks, kind of in my social sphere, and some people have been to the event, some people haven't, and I'll talk to them about it, and they're like, well, how much money did you guys raise? I mean, a lot of them have done charity events before, and they're blown away that we could do this, 28,000. And this isn't like a company where we've got paid employees who we pay the employees to work on the event. This is all volunteer time. So the time that you guys put into this event, I mean, this is all your time. So, you know, actually the dollar value that you guys put into this event is even higher than that. So I just want to make sure, you know, thank you guys tremendously for doing that. Our historic number is 282,726. This is basically what we've donated since 1996. So, and I believe in this year, we're going to get over that 300,000 mark to, and I'd love to see us get to 325. All right, Home Settlement Center, 172 purchases in 2014 and 68 million in volume in 2014. That basically equated to about 27% of the buy-side transactions used Home Settlement Center. Presidential mortgage, they did 54 loans. That was about 7% of the home purchases used presidential mortgage. And the reason why I bring these two up is these are our partner companies. They've supported us since 2001. They support us 365 days a year, 24/7. So, you know, this isn't just when the refi market slows down, lenders jump on and want your business. These folks have been with us. They continue to support our company. So anything you can do to work with them in 2015 would be greatly appreciated. Our thing is, though, they have to earn your business, and we get that. We don't expect you just to give them the business if they do a terrible job. So they want to earn your business, but give an opportunity if you'd like. Thank you. All right. I like these next slides. So this is where our business comes from in a geographic sense, because again, depending on where your office is located, might be you know, ideas of what and where you do your business. So this is a breakdown I did. Again, this came from Facebook, so thank you all for that feedback. 71% of our seller side transactions were in Montgomery County, 10% Frederick, 6 Howard, 4 in PG and Carroll. Baltimore was 2, and Anne Arundel County was 1. DC was 0.5%. Our buyer side transactions, usually the buyer side gets spread out a little bit more. Only 54% of our business is actually done in Montgomery County when it comes to buyer side transactions. 13% in Frederick, 9 in Howard, 7 in PG, 5 Carroll, Anne Arundel, DC, and then Fairfax. And then let's drill down into Montgomery County. So where does our business happen in Montgomery County? So this is the seller side coverage. And one of the interesting things, in 2013, only 4% of our business was done in Clarksburg. This year, we went up to 10%. So if those of you who are working the Clarksburg marketplace, it's working. You guys are definitely seeing the results of that. So kudos to you guys for doing that. Other things to look at is, you know, Olney did 18%. Silver Spring was 19% of our seller side business, which was actually the most business we did was in Silver Spring. Gaithersburg was right there at 14%. And then Rockville's 10%. Looking at buyer side coverage, 25% was in Silver Spring, 10 in Rockville, 16 in Olney, 13 in Gaithersburg. All right, looking at total volume, and this is a pretty staggering number to look at. You know, our company is competing in basically behind the, you know, a really big Long & Foster Bethesda office. We're one of the biggest companies, you know, by volume in the area. We did over 450 million in 2014. Looking at us compared to other RE/MAX brokers, we did the most volume out of RE/MAX brokers in Montgomery County, contrary to what people posted on Facebook. And then our average sales price. So again, this is a Facebook question. Some people asked about what our average sales price was. Again, our average sales price was $389, $689. So this is how we kind of rank in those numbers. Again, I think we do a lot of business outside of Montgomery County. So I think that's why our price point is probably a little less than some people would expect. We're right here at 389. All right, 2014 versus 2013 volume. So this is a chart we dominated for a couple of years. We were showing extreme growth year over year while other people were going backwards. However, this year, we're not ranked in the top 1, but we're continuing to see growth. We're right here. And I think year over year, if we can continue to grow, I mean, I think that's the big benefit. One thing you'll see is some of these companies, they go up one year and then they go down the next. They go up, go down. We've continued to grow year after year, which is great. All right, now we're going to shift gears. So that was all of our statistics. Now we're going to get into national trends. And a lot of these reports I pulled were from an NAR, home buyer, home seller report that you can pull offline. It's a fascinating read if you get a chance. So I pulled a couple clips out of there just to kind of highlight what information's in there. Based on this, NAR is usually very bullish on the marketplace. They are always kind of predicting really big numbers, but actually this year it was kind of interesting to see they backed off. They're very conservative this year on what they see as the growth in the real estate business nationally. So this is the NAR home buyer, home seller profile. So this first chart is information sources used in a home search. So obviously this isn't surprising. Internet, web, 89, and then real estate agent was 89. But one thing was, you know, even this breaks it down into age groups too. So like these are 33 and younger. These are your millennials. 34 to 48. These are most of your Gen Xers. And then these are a lot of your boomers and then silent generation. But it's interesting to see that, you know, the real estate agent is still an important part of the home search, even with these millennials, which is pretty interesting. It's actually, they have the highest number out of all of these because again, as our clients age, they have other resources to look at for purchasing a home and doing their home search.
Bill, on that,
Yeah.
the industry data on the short side says that about 95% of people will use some type of internet-based program to learn about insurance, but about 70 to 75% of them still want to use a local agent.
Yeah.
Which is really good job security for us, but it's a very symbiotic relationship with real estate mortgage. With all the tools out there, people will go to it. They still, when it comes down to it, they want to work with an awesome agent, and that's good for all of us.
Oh yeah. Yep. So where did the buyer find their home? And this is the next slide. Internet was 43%. Real estate agent was 33. So we're still very integral in helping them even find a home. And this is kind of interesting. I mean, there's still tons and tons of websites out there, but still people are using real estate agents. And this is one area. Our older purchasers rely more heavily on us as real estate agents. And this is just kind of when people ask me when it comes to bonuses and things like that, this is something to consider. If you're looking at properties that you put bonuses on, I'd probably look at ones that the agent is driving the business more so than internet. All right, most difficult steps in the home buying process. And I thought this was very interesting. So what you'll see is the number one thing, finding the right property is the number one thing that people found most difficult in purchasing a home. So how many websites are there like to find homes? Like 10, 12 maybe? Like a billion home sites? So home search should be the easiest thing, right? And to kind of Jeff's point is that there's all this information online. But they still finding the right home is one of the most difficult parts. And as you know, as we go down the list, and it's funny to see, you know, like the next three: paperwork, understanding the process, and getting a mortgage. These things all start going down as people get older. They get a better understanding of the marketplace. But those first-time home buyers, that's where they need a lot of knowledge. They need a lot more help than the older buyers do. So keep that in mind because I'm going to get into that in other slides. I really think in 2015, I think with FHA changing some of their regulations, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more first-time home buyers coming back in the marketplace. And a lot of us have the wrong perception of what a Gen Y millennial buyer is like. So, all right, the next one is how buyer found their realtor. So again, if you just take these, the first two are basically by referral. So the first one is referred by a friend, relative, neighbor. The second one is they were the agent I used on my last transaction. Obviously, the first-time home buyer, or people who are 33 and younger, most of them are going to be first-time home buyers. So they don't have that second category of previously used this agent before. But there's still how they found their realtor. 52% of them found their realtor through a referral. And then the other 5% was through previously purchasing a home. Only 10%. And this is, you know, we talk about the millennials. Everything's done online. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. But only 10% of them are finding their realtor based strictly off of online. 57% of them are doing it through either a previous realtor or a referral. So keep that in mind. And then this is another trend. We talked a little bit about this. So what is, talk about millennials and Gen Y. 83 million of them. There's more millennials than there are baby boomers at this point. Their parents are typically baby boomers, so they trust baby boomers. So do any of you guys know any baby boomers? Do you know any? Okay, because they might trust these people. So if you know any baby boomers, you ought to probably tell them to get in the real estate business because maybe some of these Gen Ys might trust them actually. Okay, so a lot of these folks, they witnessed the housing crash through the eyes of their parents, or I know some people, they were in college. Parents had to bring them home from college because the economic crash in 2007. So they have a very interesting perspective on the real estate market, kind of what it did to mom and dad, you know, had to move, had to go to a new school. I mean, there was different things that you need to be sensitive to with their understanding. But they're starting to mature, just like a lot of other generations have. They're starting to mature and they're building families and they're building wealth. And with that comes they want security. And one of the biggest assets for security is housing. And when you're building a family, a lot of times, you know, if you've got kids in school, you don't want to be jumping around the U Street corridor every, you know, 6 to 12 months to find the next coolest, hippest restaurant. A lot of it is you're going to start moving out towards the suburbs and buying minivans. The National Home Builder Association did a survey, and 66% of millennials actually said they'd like living in the suburbs. So the uncool suburbs are now cool. The city is lame, right? Maybe?
All the parents do.
Yeah, all the parents move into the city, exactly. Right. All right. Okay, so technology for home search, and I bring this up because you know, I talk to a lot of agents. Where do I spend my money? I'm looking at trying to do this with a website. Do I go with Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com? And I look at it as it's like a funnel approach. There's different ways that people search for real estate. And a lot of times what they do is they go to the big avenues to find out about real estate. They go to the Zillow, Trulia's, Redfin, Realtor.coms to find out kind of general real estate information. But once they kind of start finding some areas that they want to move to, because real estate is very location based, then they start doing some deep dives into those local areas and what I call like a hyper local online content. So you can try to compete with the big players, but I tell you, you're probably going to lose because there's a lot of money in the big players. But at a hyper local level, you've got some great opportunities. It's like high tech versus high touch. You've got those high touch opportunities that you need to take advantage of. And again, I put in here, buyers don't want search, they want results. I mean, they can get tons and tons of search out there, but what they are having a hard time doing, because a lot of them said this is a struggle, is finding the actual results that they want out of the real estate search that they're doing. Other things, mobile, obviously, just like Mike was talking about, you know, the virtual this chart. This is an older chart, but it's still very relevant. A lot of us struggle with online leads because they come in, we respond to them, we email, call, no response. And what happens is you get this feeling like, they're crap leads. Well, really what's going on here is you've got this, there are people who will do the same day real estate move. Basically, they will talk to a real estate agent the same day that they make an online inquiry. But 40% of those, 40% of the people, the majority of the people, aren't going to do anything for another 120 days. So you get this like manic kind of situation where it's either they're going to do something right now or they're not going to do something for like 6 months. So you got to be able to, think like a hunter and work like a farmer. You got to be able to get out there and get those leads that are today, but also realize that you got to have some drip campaigns to stay in touch with these people and circle back with them at later date, because they could come back. And again, 78% of home shoppers visited 3+ websites before taking a real estate action on a website. So they are out there looking at multiple different types of websites. All right, technology for finding an agent. Always do this. Google yourself, find out what comes up, see what's out there on you. You might be horribly surprised, you might be pleasantly surprised, but Google yourself. And one thing you'll see that'll come up from time to time is your RE/MAXagent.com website. So I'm going to encourage you guys, make sure you've got a good profile up there. Dale's talking about video in a couple months. Having a video intro, your RE/MAXagent.com website should be your online business card. It should be a really nice intro. Jill's got a great one. She's got a very nice video she did that just tells people a little bit about her. Because most people, they're coming to this website because they've Googled you. They've gotten your name, and now they're looking you up. So they are specifically trying to find out information about you. If they go to your About Me section and it just says some canned little thing, they're probably going to say, well, she's probably not very tech savvy, or they probably don't care much about online leads, and I want an agent who is tech savvy. And then LinkedIn. LinkedIn is kind of one of those things that as real estate agents, we've been scratching our head. How do we deal with LinkedIn? LinkedIn is very good for B2B transactions. Most of our transactions are B2C, our business to consumer. So we go on LinkedIn, it's always presenting other real estate agents who we should be connecting with. Don't use it that way. What you want to do is make sure you build a really nice profile and link with your customers. A lot of them, they're using LinkedIn in their business every day, because that's how a lot of B2B companies work. So make sure your profile is done correctly, because a lot of times when you Google your name, your LinkedIn profile will come up. And if it's inaccurate or if it's incomplete, it's going to speak volumes about you. And what does the consumer want? Quick response. They want insight, not data. So always make sure you're providing insight, not just data, because again, they have plenty of data out there. But what you want to give them is what's happening right now. Why is such and such an important time, or why is such and such an important issue right now for them? And then they want a mobile agent. They want someone who can great slide. Technology for finding an agent. So I'm going to delve into this agent rating systems. It's no longer optional. In the past we've said, well, why do we need rating systems? So this is this first bullet point: reviews are replacing traditional advertising. So this was done by a Fox Business. They did a survey. 90% of consumers believe in review, while only 25% of small businesses believe that they are important. So companies, didn't put value into companies weren't putting value into reviews, but the consumer is. So there's a huge disconnect there, and a lot of companies aren't even, like here down a little further. Only 22% of businesses were looking at their Yelp page. So consumers are looking at this stuff, but we as business owners aren't. So making sure you have your reviews out there is extremely important. Zillow has reviews. A lot of us haven't used or tapped into Yelp, but I'd encourage you guys do that. Siri, so when any of you with an iPhone, Siri defaults, when it goes to reviews, it defaults to Yelp. So making sure you've set up information on Yelp, your clients to put up Yelp reviews is not a bad strategy. Other places, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we've tried to rely on NAR for some of these reviews. They put out a program that they were going to have a review program for real estate agents, and then it got shelved. The reason why it got shelved is because there's so many agents out there who do zero business in NAR, and they don't want to alienate those people who pay dues. So that's the reason why NAR had to pull it off. You guys are the cream of the cream. You guys do so much business apart from the rest of the production in the industry. Your reviews out there. So please, 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 this year, make sure you've got reviews. Make sure you're getting them for your clients. Some people don't like Zillow. I get that, but Zillow took some things out there that we wouldn't do. We wouldn't give people values of their homes. Zillow did it, and the consumer went there. We wouldn't give them reviews. Zillow did it, and now people are going to Zillow. So make sure, even though, depending on however you feel about them, get your reviews out there. And then other things, sold data online. Always make sure your sold data is out there and correct. And one thing I put on here for FSBOs and new home sales, and I bug you guys about this and I apologize, but it's for your own good. Make sure all your sold data is out there. I know a lot of people are like, well, I sold a new home. Why do I need to put it in the computer? It's only for your statistics. And I'm like, it's not mine. Because when you're at a listing appointment, agents are using your sold data against you, whether you like it or not, because it's out there. So make sure you're always putting any FSBOs, any new home sales into the computer. It's very easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the listing agent ID. Just put in the basic information. Mark it as sold, submit to MLS, you're done. It's very easy. Any questions on this slide? You guys gonna do reviews? Yes. All right. Okay, technology for agents. Again, CRMs, database management systems, lead incubation, tracking systems, messaging, put in here messaging. Our clients and a lot of our Gen Y clients are big into messaging and text. And I know it frustrates a lot of us. I didn't grow up texting, so I'm still playing along with it and trying to get better, but concise communication. And that's one of the key parts. I've had a lot of agents come to me, it's comical. They're like, well, I sent them an email and they only read the first sentence. They didn't read the rest, the other 4 pages of the email I sent them. I'm like, well, that's the problem you got. Is a lot of people, they're used to very short bursts of information. And like it or not, it's, Craig and I talked about this years ago, the microwave generation. I mean, it's just, we want things very quickly. So if you are going to get information out to them by text, be concise. And even in email, I use bullet points a lot now. I'll make sure they know, hey, I've got 4 things you need to know. Here's all 4 so that they can go check, 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 as opposed to buried in some 4-page email. And then the other thing, technology for agents, photography, 3D home tours, and professional photography is mandatory. The drones is another thing. I think that's one of the things coming up, as well as with virtual tour. There's a company called Matterport. They have these new cameras, and they almost build, it looks like a dollhouse. They build it like a dollhouse of your house with the images. And that technology is coming very quickly. All right, so strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is a SWOT analysis. So strengths, weaknesses, this is kind of our current or past state. Opportunities and threats are kind of what we see in the future as opportunities and threats in the marketplace. All right, so I'll go through this. Our strength, this is gonna be our 30th year in existence. So yay. We opened in 1985, and we're here 30 years later. Highest volume RE/MAX company in Montgomery County, the 2nd year in a row. RE/MAX has #1 market share in Olney, the 16th year in a row, and RE/MAX has #1 market share in Clarksburg, the 6th year in a row. So congratulations, guys. We had 67 RE/MAX award winners in 2014. That's 5 more. I'm not supposed to read 2013. 5 more than 2013. Ellen Coleman and Marie Algren-Stefanos got the Hall of Fame Award. Peggy Lynn Spiker got the Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014. And again, we're one of the largest real estate companies in the county in our 4th year of growth in number of agents. These are what we call our premier market presence charts. So Olney was 35% of the marketplace. In Clarksburg, RE/MAX made up almost 50% of the marketplace. That's like unheard of. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I mean, it's just, there is virtually no competition based on the work you guys have done. So keep up the good work. Thank you, guys. All right, other strengths. We own our own office in Olney. We own our own office in Clarksburg. We have this great community space up here when you want to do first-time home buyer seminars, things like that, client events. Let us know, and we can work on scheduling that. One of our other strengths is we're one culture and one company with 2 distinct office locations. So whether you go to Olney or come to Clarksburg, we try to make sure that the staff is well-versed in each location. That's just why Dale split our time between both offices, that it isn't just, well, the Olney office is this and the Clarksburg office is this. We want it to be one company that you guys feel comfortable when working with an agent from either location, you're working with a professional. Other strengths, office technology. Last year, we launched our paperless solution. It was only 7 years in planning. It's our online file cabinet, and it also included free digital signing. We launched a new Circle Picks program based on input from the agents. Our dashboard has been a strong help for communication, financial reports. We had our have want section where you can post upcoming listings. And also one thing we're working on right now is we have a business directory in there, and we're verifying every vendor who's in that business directory for you. So, we checked once a year on that vendor. So that's one project we're working on. We have a website, realtymd.com. We had 128 new leads in 2014 on that website. And then we had a realtor.com contract that's through May of this year. In 2014, we had 1,350 online and phone leads. And then we also launched a new recruiting website, Agent Succeed Here. If you want to be a star on our website, we'd love to talk to you about that, because just like you guys, we're telling you guys you need video testimonial. We need video testimonial too. And if you guys think we're doing an okay job, maybe if we're getting like a 3 out of 5 stars, we'd love to hear. Just joking. We'd love to hear what you have to say. And again, our objective is, I'd much rather get a handful of quality agents every year than try to get in 60, part-time would-be agents who may or may not make it. That's not our company philosophy. We want good agents just like you guys. So you guys do a lot of business. So us is a great thing for everybody. Because what we've seen is, as we can bring in the better agents together, we share. We try to work together, and it brings all of us up. All right. Catch up on the slides. All right. Other strengths, #1 brand. This is for RE/MAX International. #1 brand in all of real estate. We had 487 accepted leads on Lead Street, 186 missed leads. We've got the new websites and 10 million unique leads since Lead Street started. A lot of advertising, over $1 billion cumulatively. Design Center. We have also, one of the things RE/MAX has continued to do year after year after year is advertise on TV. 1.3 billion impressions, and that was 83.2% share of voice. And RE/MAX has 97,000 agents in 6,300 plus offices in 95 plus countries. This is a little brand impression. It shows our national TV exposure. This is RE/MAX versus the industry. There's been a couple companies that have boasted that they have more agents. That's great. It's quality, not quantity. So RE/MAX still does more business, even though we don't have the most agents nationwide. This is RE/MAX around the world. And then other strengths. We talked a little bit about the Children's Miracle Network. And there's things called honor cards that you guys can do with every listing. If you do $25 or more, we send a card out. Children's Miracle Network sends a card out to your client on your behalf that you made a donation in their name. It's a great way to make a donation and give your client a nice kind of gift at the end of a closing. Other things you guys have done on citizenship, we fed 20 families for Thanksgiving. I've worked on the Chamber of Commerce in Albany. Dr. Joe and Betty have been very active in the Clarksburg Chamber, did a toy drive, and we've monopolized a lot of the Albany and Clarksburg community events. Community Night in Albany, and then the Clarksburg Pumpkin Festival and the Clarksburg Town Center pool party.
Joe, I just want to touch, because Joe Shaver brought this up at the last meeting. If you haven't done the $25 honor card, you're missing a really great opportunity, because that's the one thing that I get the most response back from all my clients. And they get that, they always email me, go, "Thank, that was really thoughtful of you to do that." And Joe actually, he comes out right out of the gate and tells people at the listing presentation he's going to do that as part of the, part of this part of this whole package. So it's really an effective tool for $25.
Yep. All right. Other strengths are staff. I think we got a pretty darn cool staff. We have 9 staff members. Our leadership team has over 74 years combined experience. It's pretty cool. And we have a plan for succession. One of the concerns in the real estate industry is a lot of ownership management is getting very old, and same with the agent population. We have a big baby boomer generation that's going to be retiring. And just so you guys know, we do have a succession plan. Hopefully, Betty, you'll keep me on board. But we have a plan for.
We're trying to kick you out.
So again, Carrie in our business office, Ellen just joined our team this year. Michelle is in Albany as well, and then Dawn and Deborah are our weekend agent services coordinators. In-office services, home settlement center, presidential mortgage, and Liberty Mutual team. And then this is our flow chart of our staff. All right, other strengths, agent participation. Again, last year we did something very different with the Children's Miracle Network Gala. We had 6 agents run it by committee. It's the first year we'd ever done that. And it was our largest event to date. So again, it was really nice to see, you guys work together as a team on this. Sales Associate Council, we revived this last year, thanks to Dale. And again, it's one of those things, we love your feedback because it helps us overhaul a lot of different things and make some improvements. Again, like the business directory verification was one of the ideas. We started doing anniversary lunches in 2014. And we've added a lot of training because you guys have directed us on some training because, Dale and I have sometimes done some training classes that no one's shown up for. And it's been, a lot of that is we want your feedback on what's important to you guys. And with that said, if you guys are committed, we're definitely committed. Fun stuff. We did our 3rd annual awards luncheon, chili cook-off, summer picnic, and then holiday party. Other strengths, training. We did, Dale did our 9th annual business planning last December. We had 51 agents attend. Last year, we did over 90 training classes in the office, both offices, and that was double what we did in 2013. We brought in a lot of new initiatives. A couple of them were very technical training classes on, like for instance, on the contracting clauses 101. We had a lot of folks come to me and say, hey, look, I need this help. Contracts change so much, or I bring on a team member, this, that, or the other. So we doubled our training, what we did in 13. But again, we're looking for that. We did a lot of training. Some of it was great. Some of it, we didn't have a lot of participation. So please give us that feedback. We did one-on-one coaching with our agents. We did Tom Ferry, Brian Buffini. We did monthly continuing education classes. And we're looking at getting a monthly continuing education class up here in this room as well. And then I sat on grievance committee. So grievance committee, we look at complaints that come in at GCAR about transactions against agents or commission disputes. So I found it very important to be on that because I get to see what complaints look like. So see what my peers see as a valid complaint and what's not a valid complaint to help you guys if you ever get in those situations. And then we were top 25 Washington Business Journal. We were ranked in the top 500 nationally. We have a deep, deep experience pool for agents, short sales investors, land development, commercial, business brokerage teams, foreclosures, lots and lots and lots of different experiences in our collective group. Because it's great when someone comes to me and says, hey, I got an issue. Someone came to me and they want to list land. We've got agents, Greg works on land, other agents work on land. We've got, folks who we can point people to. Hey, I've got a foreclosure issue. We've got some agents who specialize in foreclosure that I can point them to. And that is a great thing. I don't have to be the end all be all for resources, and nor should I be. I can't be a jack of all trades, master of none. We've got some masters of these experienced programs. All right, weaknesses. I'll keep it to one slide for weaknesses because you guys are awesome. Participation, community events. Some of our community events, it's typically the same group of people. So I'd love to get more people out. We try to piggyback on big events where we do get a lot of the community participation in. If there's community events that we should be doing, let us know too, because you're going to be the chairman of that committee first and foremost. But it's one of those things that we want to go where the public is. And if we can get good publicity, we're willing to do that. But we want you guys, yeah.
We're at we do that and if you want to have us advertise some of the things we're going to be at, we'll be back.
Okay, perfect. I like that. All right. We have an experienced agent population, and we're going to be talking about that experienced agent population today, transitioning business. Because we do have some agents who, and I hope you guys don't stay here and keel over at a broker's open, when you're 97. I'd love for you guys to enjoy your business, work hard when you're working, but have a good retirement as well. So I know there's going to be agents who are going to be transitioning out of the business at some point, but I'd love to see you transition perfectly. Technology challenges. It seems like there's always a new technology and a new problem every other week. So that's one thing we're constantly dealing with. In-office marketing and transaction coordination. These are two areas we don't have in office. We have outside farming. We can farm this out to other people, but we don't have it in office. And then our paperless system, we're still tied to paper. A lot of people, we're trying to get this, like Carrie Montgomery said, it's not a revolution, but an evolution. What we're trying to do is shift out of the paper systems into a paperless format. All right, opportunities. So this is kind of future state. We're still one of the last offices standing in Montgomery County, and that gives us a lot of advantages. We've seen that even in Clarksburg. We're the only real estate office in Clarksburg, and I don't think it's any coincidence that our production went from 4% to 10% of our listing business. Fewer agents who can do the business at hand. So last year was a tough year. I mean, on transactions, we had a lot of fall through. I put in here 2014 was the year of fall through. But with that said, I always told people, hey, this is an education. Right now, you paid tuition. You didn't get commission, but you got tuition. We try not to pay too much in tuition, but you guys are doing very difficult deals. And every time you do a difficult deal, you've just basically increased your worth. You now can do something no one else can do. Other opportunities, agents who might be retiring in the next 5 to 10 years, finding agents to look to grow their business. Again, that's at 12 noon today. And then building your team. Other opportunities is looking at how you can add, and we're doing training classes on this, how to add administrative help. Because sometimes you just need someone to get your mailer out for you. Sometimes you need someone with transactional help. I need a buyer's agent. If built correctly, 1 + 1 will equal 3. What I see a lot of times is 1 + 1 equals a half when they're not built correctly. And that's what we want to avoid. New agents have fewer options of places to go. That's why a lot of teams are becoming an option, and we can help you do it. We've helped a lot of people build and grow their teams. Okay, opportunities. We talked about this earlier. New wave of buyers coming, the millennials. And the Metro DC area is a big area. It's a big job center. So we're getting a lot of folks coming into this area. But there's also a new wave of sellers. There's a lot of baby boomers who want to get the hell out of Maryland. I mean, it's just not the most friendly tax state, which is kind of a good thing. I was joking with a politician. I'm like, part of me is like, hey, your policies are so punishing that it creates job security for me because my clients have to leave Maryland. So it's probably not the best strategy, but it works temporarily. And then we have an excellent job market. We only have a 5% unemployment rate in Montgomery County. Other opportunities, mortgage market improvements. We talked a little bit about this earlier. First-time home buyers. FHA has greatly improved. They've loosened the restrictions across the board. And what we saw in 2010, 50% of the marketplace in 2010 was made up of first-time home buyers. And it just crashed down since then. Only 33% of the marketplace was first-time home buyers. And that was the lowest in 2014. That was the lowest point since the 80s. So there is an opportunity there. And I think that, there's been a delay. And I think what we're going to start seeing is a lot of these people, as FHA becomes a better option, a lot of these people are going to come out of the woodwork. So it's just being prepared for them. And again, the reason why I talked a lot about the millennials is people get a little caught up on what a millennial is or what they're not, or they're just always on their phone, those kind of things. And they're just like every other generation. And I think you'll find that they're going to be a great source of business. And again, looking at like socially, a lot of them, they want social approval. That's the reason why they go online. They're asking their friends. Referral is a big part of how they make decisions. So you want to be in there in the middle of that. Other opportunities, commercial. We have an in-office commercial division. Jim King was here a little earlier. That's a great option. You may have clients leaving the area. They've got businesses to sell. They may have commercial property. You can get paid on that as well. And global real estate market. RE/MAX is in China and RE/MAX is global. Other things, we had that 3 or 4% of our business is agent to agent. Referrals has a great agent network. Reach out to areas where you see people coming from. San Francisco, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Charlotte, the Triangle, Raleigh, Durham. Reach out to agents in those marketplaces. Just make an introduction. I'm sure if you just spent 5 minutes making some introductions, it might lead to a referral down the road. Again, a lot of people are relocating into the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. Social opportunities, kind of already hit on this. I'll delve a little bit in Facebook ads. So there's retargeted ads, and there's also custom audience marketing. So Facebook has some really cool tools for you guys that you can actually target your ads towards certain people. You can upload your database and put ads towards those people. For for a very small budget, you can actually start using Facebook to advertise correctly. Instead of just blasting out to everybody, you can create these custom audiences. Other things is YouTube. YouTube's is used very much right now. Videos, if you those pre-roll ads, you got to wait that incredibly long 15 seconds to watch your video of puppies rolling all over each other. There's a thing called a pre-roll. You can actually do those ads yourself and get on those pre-roll ads. So that's an area that I don't see any real estate agents in that marketplace doing. All right, other opportunities. The consumer gets what the consumer wants. So this year 2014, and actually yesterday was a big day too in this. Zillow wound up purchasing Trulia. Zillow and Realtor.com now have become head-to-head competitors. Realtor.com was purchased by Rupert Murdoch, who owns News Corp, which is, maybe you've heard of Fox and some other big companies. So there's a lot of money right now, and these two companies are going head-to-head. Zillow did a great job. They delivered home values. Is one thing. If you wanted to get home values in the past, you had to call your realtor, and your realtor had to come out to your house, and your realtor had to give you an hour and a half demonstration on how awesome they are. Then Zillow said, well, why don't we just short circuit that and just go to the public records, try to pull up some guesstimation, and here's a price. And you know what? Most consumers were okay with that. And the analogy I give is like WebMD. So a lot of times, it's like, oh, I got a sore throat. It's like, am I dying? Or do I just have, a cold? So a lot of times you'll go to WebMD and get some results. They're going to give you a big range of things you could, you'd be dying or you could be okay. But you just want to get some general information because, again, maybe you don't want to call the doctor. Maybe you don't want to go sit in their waiting room and go get sick while you're waiting in their waiting room with all the other sick people. So think of it that way, that a lot of times people are using some of these resources just to get some general ideas. And yes, some people do think it's gospel. But again, that's our job, is coming up with some better scripts and dialogues, talking to them about why, when it comes to really pricing and putting that final price on the property, they need to speak with a real estate agent. And they also deliver the agent ratings. Realtor.com, which has been kind of run through us as our National Association of Realtor, has really put a governor on what Realtor.com could do out there. I mean, Realtor.com's been very slow at giving the consumer what they really want. That's the reason why Realtor.com was huge, 6 years ago. Now they're in third place out of all the websites. They only had 25 million unique visitors as opposed to Zillow, which had 57 million, and Trulia at 34 million. Those two just combined. So, our Realtor.com is really lagging behind based on the fact that we've really tried to put these governors on it, that we weren't going to give this information. We weren't going to give that information. Everyone else is giving it out. And that's going to change, I think, with Rupert Murdoch buying Realtor.com. He's not going to allow that to happen anymore. So again, Zillow's in the process of buying Trulia, and actually that just happened yesterday. It got approved. And then News Corp bought Realtor.com. So between July 15th and September 30th, $4.65 billion worth of real estate changed hands in this portal business. That's a lot of money, Yeah.
So will Trulia go away, do you think? Or they'll just keep it?
They're going to keep it as it's just like Buick and GMC and Chevy. They're going to keep the brand there because it's got some value. People are still going to it. They may, but on the back end, they're going to basically consolidate their sales force. Yeah, they're still going to keep it.
Agents will still advertise on both.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. But this will be important to see what happens coming down the road. All right, other opportunities. Farming, we call it marketplace or farms. This is still a critical area. I mean, a lot of people have gone away from it, and I think there's still a lot of great opportunities. Listing, we always talk about, we saw our listing versus sales ratios drop a little bit last year. I'd love to see that come back because I think listing is the way to do it. Now we're switching from opportunities to threats. So threats in 2015, the Frank Dodd Act created this Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So this is really putting a magnifying glass on the real estate industry and our relationships with mortgage and title and other real estate providers. As you know, there's a big lawsuit with Craig Northrup for kickbacks. That's the reason why when we bug you about the RESPA forms, there's a reason why we bug you about them, is that we got to have these forms out there. You don't have to use our people, but we have to disclose that we've got these relationships. And also that goes for anyone who's got any marketing relationships with a mortgage or title company. You need to disclose that to your clients. It's, you know, we've got some templates you can use. It's just the CFPB is really out there threatening big time. They want to scare the crud out of us, and they're doing a great job for just scaring the crap out of us. There's no political oversight over CFPB, and their funding comes from the fines that they're going to get. So they are almost like in a sales position. These are like debt collectors in a way. They're looking to make examples of people. And again, we're one of the bigger companies in Montgomery County that we're starting to get a bigger and bigger target on us, that people are going to look at what we're doing. So little things we can do keeps us out of hot water. RESPA forms are awesome things to have. We have new appraisal restrictions coming down the pike. Presidential was talking a little bit about how they're going out and hitting it in the forefront. And then we have a new HUD-1 coming in August. Again, 3 days prior to closing, you're going to need to have basically all those numbers are going to need to be sealed up and ready to go for settlement. The buyers are going to have kind of a 3-day right of rescission before settlement. So nothing can change in that 3-day period. So that's going to make the way we do pre-settlement walkthroughs a little different. There's not going to be last minute at the table issues anymore. So that's going to kind of change the way we structure some of our problems. Independent contractor status. And this is something that's come up and it will continue to come up as the government's looking for more money. They're looking for ways to tax people. We as a brokerage have an issue with independent contractor status versus broker supervision. You know, there's things that we ask you to do. You say, well, I'm an independent contractor. I don't have to do that. So we're kind of at a struggle there. And then does broker supervision equal, are we an employer? And this isn't anything that's immediate, but it's down the pike. MLS, as these companies are getting bigger and bigger, Zillow, Truly a merger, and the Realtor.com, is, you know, those two companies could basically buy like the top 3 real estate companies for valuation. I mean, there's just, the value is a lot in the data. It's not really in the real estate business, what we do, even though they can't do the real estate business without us. So there's a battle for the data. ListHub is owned by News Corp now, and ListHub has told Zillow they're no longer welcome in ListHub. So in the past, we had this nice friendly relationship. We put our listings into MRIS. MRIS gives them to ListHub. ListHub puts them on a billion different websites. ListHub is now saying, well, someone might be in competition with us because now we are also Realtor.com. So there's going to be some changes, I think, in how our data goes out. And that may create something where we circumvent MLS and we go straight to, you know, some of these companies just make relationships with brokerages directly. And that's going down the road. You know, one thing I see with this is it's nice to have MLSs because we do have cooperation on the commission. We know exactly what the commission is going in, and there's some rules in place. And if MLS does die, there's a loss of that data. There isn't someone who's overseeing the data. But I put in here, does the consumer really care? And that's kind of some of the question that we have with this. And then the high cost of technology as a threat. With Zillow merging and Realtor.com, if there's 2 really big companies out there, they can start driving where they want the business. You know, in Australia, News Corp runs, they basically have like 95% market share, and the agents in Australia hate it because there is only one source you can go to for all. They got to go to News Corp, and it's very expensive and very onerous. Other threats out there. You know, we've been dealing with, you know, mega teams in our business. Sometimes we're dealing with team situations and ones that aren't built very well. They have a lot of business, but there's also a lot of fall through. They do over-the-top marketing to drive more listing business, not really sell the current inventory. And I'll put in here, you know, the last bullet point was how many homes did the Maryland mega agent let expire and withdraw in 2014? So he sold 961 homes in 2014. But he had 1,469 expired or withdrawn listings. So most people list with big agents thinking that they're going to sell the property, but a lot of them, you'll look at their data, they have a lot of expired and withdrawn. Most people don't anticipate they're going to list with someone and then go off the market and go have to find another real estate agent 90 to 180 days later. All right, other threats, the discount broker. We talked a lot about Redfin is one that's come into our marketplace. And what I put in here is cost is the only factor when value is absent. And the reason why, people will always come after us for our commissions. And if you don't have a good value proposition, if you don't know kind of scripts and dialogues, kind of how to deal with when people are asking about your commission, they're just going to be digging into your pockets. Redfin has built their model based on a employer-employee relationship. The agents there are employees of the broker. We are business people, and we got to treat our business like a business. And that's one of the biggest differences between how we interact with our clientele versus how a company interacts. And there's been a lot of bright people. This isn't the first time this has ever happened with a rebate type of employee-employer relationship. There's been Chorus Real Estate came into this area. There was Zip Realty. All these brilliant minds from Harvard came in and said, we know how to do this. You guys are doing it all wrong. And those two companies haven't had, basically one of them went out of business. The other one was basically sold for its technology, not for its agent business. And I think Redfin's going to struggle in this marketplace as people really find what the value of a real estate agent is. But us as agents, we've got to get in front of our clients and let them know what our value is. Don't expect them just to call us when they're ready to sell their home, because they are getting bombarded by ads from other folks who are saying, hey, we're just like the agent who you love and trust, and we're willing to give you more money back. The other thread I put in here was the John Smith Realtor with John Smith Brokerage. This is one of our biggest problems last year with working with agents. There's no one, there's no one watching the nursery. Lots of problems, no professionalism, no accountability. Other threats I put in here: NAR's population is continuing to go back up. We got it down below 1 million in 2012. Now it's creeping up to 1.1 million. And this was the problem we had in the past. I mean, if you look at where the crash was, we had all of these agents flooded in the marketplace, unprofessional, didn't know what they were doing. And then they all left the business as soon as the market crashed, and we were left to clean up the pieces. And I'm concerned that that's going to happen again if we get too many agents into the business going after it. Okay, so what does 2015 hold in store for you? Attend one of our coaching sessions, I think, is a great thing. We do one-on-one with folks, help you at least just kind of a jump start to your career for 2015. Give you some ideas, other things agents are doing well. Maybe you give us some ideas of things that'll work well. Second thing is attend at least one of our good to great sessions a quarter. Sometimes that session might not line up with what you want, but we're trying to provide great value. And if there's something you want to see us do, let us know. Zillow reviews, at least 20. I think you need to have. And most of you have a book of business. You can go back to your previous clients and get them. And that's a great opportunity to reach out to your clients. Update your LinkedIn profile and launch your RE/MAX agent website with an intro video. So that's all I got for my presentation. Any questions?
So any of these graphics available to us?
Yeah, so in the weekly update that came out on Monday, there's a link to this whole presentation. And I'm going to put it in the next weekly update as well. On Monday. Yep. Yeah, I've got a PowerPoint and then a PDF. Yep.
I wanted to say that I think these people here are living proof that training does work. Our agents